Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Definitely did. Got to rest, take it easy. Had a great week last week. Year starting off great. So, all in all, I just want to dive into everything that's going on. Let's start off with what we've been trading with. Give me 1 second. I haven't used this in a minute. All right, there we go. Okay, let me turn up annotations because I don't need that right now. So everything's going to be strictly charts. Okay, let's clean this up. 1 second. Let me just get rid of this line that's driving me crazy. Awesome. Done. Let me turn that off. Second. Right. So currently we're looking at PANW, PANW. This has been a great trade from 380 to 380.84, currently trading at 280.20. Last price. We have a core position, 280 to 270 puts with time 2 to 4 weeks. So we extended that as well, another 2 to 4 weeks, buying some more time. Here's a weekly chart. Topped out at 380.84. So what we do there, we mark that high. Always important. So like I always tell you guys, I like to mark highs and I like to mark lows in a short amount of time. So basically this chart is showing to 2021 to current year. So we're going to use the lows that we see on this chart. I'm not going to go all the way back. I'm just going to keep it basic with what we got in front of us. I don't want to go all the way, keep going back. It doesn't make any sense. We're not worrying about any prices up to 119, anything in between here. We're just going to focus on every single range, candle ranges, top out prices, supports. Just keep it simple. But basically on this weekly chart, I want to look at the week of 219, that candle. That candle is very significant. That candle has taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of gains in one candle. That's why it's like marrying a side is the most scariest thing to do because you never know when the price is going to turn and it's going to go against you. You can be buying and buying and buying and say, hey, this is going higher. Always have protection. Doesn't matter which side you want, always have protection. So focusing on this chart here and this candle, we're going to draw another horizontal line at that closing low of that candle. Okay, so currently from previous close, 280.20, this candle, that candle close was 282.29. We closed Friday 280.20. Currently opening under that. I want to see a continuation. So this is just a simple chart, no celts, no nothing, just support and resistance. Very basic. And as you know, when I'm trading intraday, I like to go over individual candles. I know this is a weekly chart, but I'm going to do the same on a weekly chart for reference. Prior week 226, right? We closed at 302.40. So I want to mark that closing there. That's very important. I'm going to bring that all the way over. Because prior from that close, we opened up last week, the 3-4 candle. That high was 302.38. And then from there, we engulfed down. So we went inside down. Very simple. So I'm going to add one of my studies. I'm going to actually bring my 14 and 30 into this. 30 is the yellow SMA, and the blue dashed SMA is the 14 SMA. You can see the 30 SMA is important. That is key right now. We are holding on for dear life there. You can mark that on your chart as well. So I'm going to actually duplicate this line. There we go. Perfect. This is keeping it simple. We're going to go into the 4D because that's going to close soon. I think we started that Wednesday. That 4D started 3-6. So 6, 7, 8. I think today it closes. Let me make sure. Yes, today it closes. Tomorrow starts a new one. 312 starts the new 4D. So another thing that stands out here for me, now I can give you a bullish side on this one. We have a double inside candle. So we went from a inside down weekly candle to a double inside 4D candle. Okay, so we're gonna focus on that range there. This is going to be the key range this week. So what I will be watching is last week's low, which last week low is the opening of 223 4D candle. That's 276.95. So last week's low was 276.81, not too far off. So about a couple of cents. Let's keep that basic, right? So what we'll do there, get rid of these lines. Let's keep it clean. Since we're marking that low, I'm gonna bring this down literally to that's 277.07 roughly. I want to bring this level up as well. Bring it over. But this is the range we are in. We are in this 316.11 to 277, right? So we want to end. Another thing that stands out, always focus on your moving averages. 30 SMA. So we're gonna mark that at 290.29. It's on 290.31. It's close enough. So I'm gonna change that color to yellow, just so I know that's my 30 SMA. I don't really need to mark the 316.11, but we can do that as well if you want to. If you want to color coordinate it, so you're like, okay, I know why I made this level on every time frame, you can be like, you can just mark it as, okay, 4D, 14 SMA, or 4D, 30 SMA, okay? And then you have 277 as your support, you can mark that. So for the 14 and 30 SMA, we have not crossed down yet, even though we already started a downshift, okay? The standing, what stood out for this one, for this 4D was this right here. This setup right here. Could have been a continuation higher. But mid of this move here was 363.16. So that rejection there, plus higher lows. I mean, higher highs. Sorry about that. Lower highs. That's higher highs. Lower highs. Sorry about that. As you can see here, 380. We went from 380.84, 375.17, 369.29. Let's continue downside. Trying to find a support around the 30 SMA. So we want to see what these candles do here. It's going to be an interesting week. I mean, futures is already down. Let's get some futures. Let's get that going real quick. You guys got to see my watch list. Here we go. Let's go to NQ. I mean, I trade XPX, not much QQ anymore. Another thing I wanted to talk about. I mean, it's obvious. This setup to me alone, I'm gonna be honest with you, doesn't scream go long. I mean, you have 240 inverted candles at highs, at all-time highs. That is caution. That is exhaustion. You have caution and exhaustion at the same time. Getting a rejection at 1827. That's 18,027 right there. Continue rejection there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles have touched this level and rejected off of it too. The wicks makes everything plain as day. Also still inside. We have 3 inside 4D candles here. From the 219 candle to your from the left of your 219 candle, everything to the right there. Now in this instant, in this setup, I'm gonna show you something. Let me just clean this up. I'm just marking some interesting points. This is a breakout point actually, so let me just drag this all the way over. This is the level I want to see. I want to see 14 SMA, first target, followed by 30 SMA. You see my trend lines, keeping it simple. I'm going to bring in a retracement. So that retracement is going to go off of that high, 18,436. We're going to bring it down to this low down here, which is around 14,315. Just so you get an idea. I can get rid of this level that I drew here. I don't even have to have this trend line here. I can just keep that there. And let me make this into a solid. Oops, sorry. Let's make this trend line solid here so it doesn't get confused for an SMA. There we go. Just keep it as simple as possible. I'm going to the 2D from a 4D. Just give you, and we're down 115 points. And we're holding on by a thread, 14 SMA. So we got rejection at that point that I told you guys on the 4D. Now we're finding support at the 14 SMA. Now this is going to be interesting. 17,933. Right now, 14 SMA is 17,902. So what we're going to do, we're going to mark that. Let's mark that 14 SMA, that moving average there. Then bring it all the way across. Change that color to blue. Boom, there we go. And if actually you can actually dot it, just in case I want to remove my SMAs, just so that that's off the chart. There we go. I'm going to duplicate this as well, bring it down to my 30. As 30 moves, we'll adjust it. Since 30 is a bigger dash, there we go. Just keeping it as simple as possible. Don't want to overcomplicate. Just keep it as simple as possible. So we have 3 inside 2D candles. Let's go to the daily, which tells me we have a lot more than that. Let's see. Hopefully we got a range on these candles up here. Not much. Okay. So we're going smaller time frame. We're moving over smaller to smaller time frames. So 14 SMA has now become a resistance versus on the 2D, that is a support. So as we go back to the 2D, here when my charts adjust like that. There we go. Support. And then we go to the 1 day resistance. Now we have support on the 30 SMA. So on our daily chart, the 14 SMA blue line that we have here, which we know that is for the 2D. So once we cross that, so it's funny because it goes hand in hand. So our blue horizontal line support, that is for the 2D, which is the 14 SMA on the 2D chart, is also our support for the 30 SMA on the 1 day chart. This candle structures up here does not look viable at all. It's just a lot of inside movements, inside down, inside up. Now we're going inside down. 17,894. That is the level to hold. We take that level out. Actually, no. I'm actually going to duplicate this and adjust. I know this is an SMA, but I want to bring this down here because this right here just stands out the most to me. So let's edit this. I want to give this its own color. Purple. No dash. Solid. There we go. Perfect. So that works out. So 17,830. So we got 105 points to go. That will be the test. Will they buy or will they sell it? Up here, nothing for me to really buy. We're going to look at the monthly as well. I tell a lot of people, look at your yearly charts too. Just keep that in mind because we're in the beginning of the year. It's March. It's another thing. See, this is your monthly. Got some exhaustion there too. Keep that in mind as well. I know it's still kind of early, like the second, well, when we finish with the first half of the year, the yearly will look a little bit much more better. But this is your yearly still. So actually put that on XPX. There we go. Look, XPX. Give me a second. Let's clean this up. Got a couple of levels here to watch. Actually, let me adjust and bring this one down. I mean, this yearly on XPX looks sexy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Continuation, continuation, inside, up, inside, up, inside, up. Jesus Christ. Is that the same thing for QQ? Possibly. Similar. We got to shift all into 1111. Wow. 1111. Seeing the price shift into 1111. End of year is going to be interesting. If we get that rejection at 40, 443.54 stays as a resistance into the end of the year, it's going to be kind of scary. Nobody knows what's going to happen. The market's going to do what the market's going to do. We can only trade what we see. Follow price. But let's get into URI. Next thing. Turn up this yearly chart too. This is one of the most, I mean, I don't know what words to choose for this, but URI has paid us successfully on both sides numerous of times. I don't even know, I can't even count. Upside, amazing. Downside, amazing. It has paid. It's been a great trade and it's very easy to trade. Each side is easy to trade. It always has weekly opportunities. The range is what gets me. 20-point ranges. Those. So last week when we were trading, I told you guys, I want that 20-point downside range. We actually got that 20-point range on Friday from the highs, if I'm correct. I think it was Friday or Thursday. Thursday into Friday, but it was like 690 to 674. Somewhere around there, because I know it touched 700 last week. Close to that. High was 692. Okay, 692.31. So we got three 2D candles red. We got a high spot at 732.37. I mean, you can see from that 124 candle here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inside candles before it broke out. So we're definitely retesting that 658.30. But first things first, 14 SMA, blue line, 630, 665.62. Closed at 676.14 Friday. Now, when this rolls over, it's going to roll over. We're going to use our trend lines, keep it simple. I'm going to make these solid. So there's no confusion for the SMAs. The SMA is your 30 SMA, yellow, blue, 14 SMA. Once that blue goes, we're down inside between 14 and 30. Then we should see a vacuum to the 30 SMA down. But before we even get there, that 30 SMA should possibly rise to 640. So 637.36 once we test 658.30. So we got to wait till we break that 14 SMA. But using previous moves, look at these candles here. rode the 14 SMA. We haven't touched the 30 SMA since here. So this is something you got to keep in mind. And I always tell you guys that always. 30 SMA, we haven't touched that since 1030 last year. And we've been trending above that 30 SMA for a while since the 14 crossed here. 1127 was a 14 SMA cross, 1430 cross. So let's mark that point. Predicting when that cross down is going to happen. I mean, another thing I like to use is VPN indicator, which is volume price, to see where there's any weakness. But right now we're just trending in this trend line. Engulfed 3-4 on a 2D. Let me look at the 4D. Only issue is we're inside of 223 on the 4-day as well. Got a cross here. See, but the cross actually happened for the 4-day. We got a 1430 cross that happened 1213. So it's much more delayed than the one for the 2-day, which was actually 1127. This is 12.7 versus 11.27. I think it was 11.27-ish. As long as we stay below 695.49, target is going to be 658.30 with a downside move to 637.36. So keeping this as simple as possible. So URI, PANW, getting into CLX. I'm just going over the levels that I already posted. These levels are already posted in the room, in the community. I'm just going over basics. Just keeping it simple, not overcomplicating it. Yeah, y'all know when I talk about this ticker right here. This ticker has, I think this is the ticker for 2023, actually. It might be the ticker for 2024, but this ticker has paid us downside. Was it? We shorted 160, if I'm correct. 160 was shorted. Went all the way down to 113-ish, 114. Then now it's back, literally back to 160. This thing has, it exclusively trades by price too. It's not influenced by anything. It trades by price. Like fundamentals. I mean, when fundamentals come into play, it does have ranges. It does have ranges. The moves can pay crazy. So here we go. CLX. You have a breakout from that ER candle to, what is that, 2-1, February 1st. Closed at 154.77. That was key to close above. And we did that. We still have this trend line to break above. So staying above 154.88, targeting 160.66. Buying enough time for something like this with the 1430 cross delay. Now we want that 30 estimated cross, which is starting to anchor up. See, we have a downside from here. You can see how crosses are delayed. 14 estimated down cross here on a move that went up, which could also have been another signal too. So we're gonna just say, so this move happened and delay started, which is I always go with when it broke down. So let me just activate this real quick. So it broke down. This is a 4-day. So after that 1430 SMA cross down, so I was first candle, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 candles until it actually officially broke down. So that's 28 days until it actually broke down. Now, I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to point it from when it crossed as well. Now we crossed up. So we got from the time it crossed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, do we get a follow through type of move like this one, which once that breakdown happened, we moved here. Let's change the color. Let's go a little lighter. There we go. Duplicate. I'm not saying this is going to be what's going to happen here. but I just like to get some type of visual. Mark every point that stands out. Highs. So we're gonna go, this is gonna be another target. Duplicate. Another target. These are just peaks before rejection. So I'm actually gonna change the color of these to red. And change this one to red. Price turned. I'm gonna duplicate this because I don't care much for wicks, so I'm gonna go actually in the body of the candle with the actual body closed. I'm gonna change that color to positive color, so it's gonna make that green. Duplicate this one, because these are the levels that are actually gonna be important for when we get there. There we go. Green, green. So it's going to be 169 and 164.16 when we get there. So we get to that point, then we're gonna focus there. I like this setup. I like the 14 SMA, how we're riding there. Very clean. This can be one crazy breakout. I mean, another thing, once we get above that 160, I'm targeting 180 long term, 2025. Yep. Looking possibly at January. So trend lines going real quick. Just make sure they lined up. So if we are continuing to ride the 14 SMA, let's say we can just continue to ride the 14 SMA. This is going to be our trend line to follow here. We're going to be riding that. So we're going to basically make this, let's make this red or another color. Let's make it orange. This is going to be critical because this is going to be what we follow through. We're going to make this green here. We get above that. That means we're breaking out. So green line is breakout, red line is breakdown. And what we have here, tight spot, 154.88. So 154.88 will be a buy area. We are going to use, again, 2, 1, or let's actually just go to the daily so we get an actual close. Oh, can't use that. So let's actually go to weekly then. Let's use a weekly chart rather than the 4-day. That was a gap up. Okay. So we can use the weekly candle for 129 close. So that closing was 156.36. So we want to get above that. That is going to be key. And now you can see the difference from past ERs, the past 2 ERs. We broke out. We didn't break out, but we got a big candle. Then we went inside down. Prior to that one, same thing, 4/4/24. No, 5/1. And then you have the week of 7/31. So keep that in mind. And if this breaks out, it's going to be a strong one. So we have a nice shift going into the end of year for this trade. I like this trade a lot. It's a tricky one, but it's fun. It's definitely fun to trade. Once it starts getting into its flow, starts moving, once it breaks out, that's it. And we've been in a tight range for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. We're inside. Wait, actually 5 weeks. Still inside though. It's that 156 is what we're looking for the breakout. Let's see. But I wanted to go over that for you guys. Let me just hit